My name is Marlon Alejandro Reina Rangel. Right now, I'm working in the logistics department in Nike headquarters located in Portland, Oregon, US. During my time working with the biggest sports brand in the world approximately, I have met a lot of important people in different industries, such as sports, music, media, entertainment, and even Nike legends. LeBron James, Mac Miller, Serena Williams, Oprah, Tinker Hatfield are some of the big names I have dealt with. Today is October 11, 2021, and my situation right now with the company is due to an event back in 2020 when I was just an intern. Let me tell you about it. Since I was in middle school, one of my dreams was to work at Nike. I love the sneakers, I love the clothes, I love the brand. At the end of 2018, I applied for an internship in Oregon. Ignoring the different news of the COVID, and despite being in another country, I was decided to put a step into Nike's headquarters. Lucky for me, they select me over thousands of people and start my trip at the beginning of 2020. I was only one Mexican boy over there, and a lot of cultures were present: Indian, Asian, North American, of course, European, and me representing Latin American culture. Everyone had different interests. Some people were more into production, others into innovation. A very talented Asian girl was more into design, and I was the only one attracted to logistics and business areas. In February, a big opportunity appeared in front of me. It was the time to shine. Nike announced an expansion of the distribution business model in South America, using local strategic distributor partnerships such as Grupo Axo for Argentina, Chile, and Uruguay, while Group SBF will be in charge of the company's operations in Brazil through a wholly owned subsidiary. Elliot Hill, Nike's president for Consumer Marketplace, stated that the successful distribution Nike's business model around the world, applied in South America, will help to manage a sustainable, profitable growth, with the promise that these new partners are committed to serving local consumers and leveling up retail and digital experience. Sharing Nike's values and commitment to its employees was also part of this package. At this moment, something was happening around the world. A very easy to spread virus that was taking lives of many people, coronavirus. The plan was aiming to be active in July of the same year. First, a lot of research about different topics. Despite Nike already had operations in South America, time changes and they need to upgrade all the stuff. Another important thing was that three persons will travel to Argentina and Brazil for some meetings with two groups, AXO and SBF. No one wanted to travel to South America due to different situations about the language, the pandemic, time, and even racism was shown in the situation. Some interns and me applied for the Call of Duty, but only one will go to South America with two important persons: Mr. Harrison, the left hand of Elliot Hill, the person that I mentioned before, and Mrs. Hatfield. She's the daughter of one of the most important designers of the brand through the years. We call Mr. Harrison Papa Joe. He's a very expert person. He's very smart and is the best in the headquarters while talking about business. Also, he's a very multicultural person, talking more than one language. Funny for us, he doesn't know how too much to talk about Spanish, but at the end, Mrs. Hatfield, or Lucy, as she wanted to be called, was the opposite of Papa Joe. She was introvert, sometimes she's rude, but the ideas of design and cultural campaigns are very powerful. She has the Hatfield talented in her blood. At the end, I was chosen for this project. Due to the situation, I'm the only one intern from Latin America. I talk Spanish and Papa Joe saw something in me. Or that was what he said. The three were heading to two important countries of one operations will be held, Argentina and Brazil. This is where the challenge began.
Vem Magalenha Rojão, traz a lenha pro fogão, vem fazer armação. Hoje é um dia de sol, alegria de coió, é curtir o verão.
Vem Magalenha Rojão, traz a lenha pro fogão, vem fazer armação. Hoje é um dia de sol, alegria de coió, é curtir o verão.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
First stop was Brazil. We are having some meetings with Group SBF. Here, we have some challenges with the business environment. The situation was very friendly to the point we almost lose idea of the business and important intentions of the operations. According to Joe, Brazilians are very friendly, similar to Mexicans. They try to act as a family. Also in business, money or similar are put into a second place. They already had interaction back in 2011 when the US and Brazil free trade agreement was signed. Due to this trade, Brazil became in 2019 the ninth largest goods and export market and the 17th largest supplier of goods imports, a big step for a green country. The first day was easy. I helped Joe to translate some ideas into Spanish for a better understanding, but also talking by myself with the people of SBF. Joe gave me that confidence of developing some strategies for logistics and operations, starting to develop some experience for future projects. Meanwhile, Lucy was having some interactions with designers of the other brands. She had a 180 change in her attitude. I was very surprised. Brazil is a very beautiful place. We have some free time to take a look around the after the first meeting. I swear to God that I saw Lucy Hatfield smiling for the first time. She was taking some photos of different places while Joe was telling me of the most important of the touristic clusters here in Brazil, four of them focusing in Rio de Janeiro. He also gave me advice of always search everything I can about the country before arriving. It can help me to have a better understanding of it. We saw a lot of business areas. We also passed some factories. During this trip, I discovered that Brazil has a good distribution between primary, secondary, and tertiary sector, being tertiary the biggest one, followed by the primary and last secondary. Also, the distribution of labor force is more even here than the US. This can help Nike in not only focusing on selling products. Brazil has a very big potential for service industry. I commented that to Joe and said it was a great idea that we could present this to the boss and to SBF. Cultural diversity is very complex in Brazil. There are a mix of ethnic backgrounds, African indigenous and European ancestry are some examples of them. This is why Brazil is considered one of the world's more diverse cultures. Talking with Lucy, she said I always wanted to come here, especially for inspiration. The colors, the wildlife, people, everything was beautiful. She hated to be always in an office where the only view was a blank screen. That night, we received a call from Elliot Hill saying that Amanda Wild, an important part of Nike Logistics, was heading to Argentina to speed up the things and we can have more meetings with SBF due to the complexity of the project with them. We were happy to have more free time and prepare for the rest tomorrow. The next day, we saw a lot of people in the streets. Most of them were heading to work. Joe told me that Brazil's population had increased a lot through the years. For 2010 it was 212 million, while a decreasing population growth rate of 0.72% for the same year. This is very important for Nike because being an important market, knowing that the median age is 33.5 years, we can focus on some strategies for that people. We also have to visit the Brazilian Central Bank, talking about financial frameworks, its main figure and responsible for maintenance, regulation, and supervision of the financial market. For Nike, the political environment is very important, and despite Brazil government claiming the worst for the economy and showing no sign of its up, the brand decided to continue improvements here. The last day of meetings, we finished the deals with SBF Group. Also, we received a call from Amanda Wild, telling us that the negotiations in Argentina were successful, and Elliot Hill was happy for these results, that he wanted to give us another week in both countries. At the end, Amanda came also to Brazil. She said Argentina's food was not very likely to her. Lucy started talking about some vegan restaurants around the area that we should visit for a better experience, and also for taking some pictures and start to draw some designs showing to the brand while we arrived. Joe was very happy to see all the Hatfield legacy in their abilities and continuing to Nike. Also proud of how in some days I developed many high-level abilities for negotiation and business understanding. When we arrived to US, Lucy started to work with his father in a new Jordan 4 based in Brazil. Also, Joe recommended me for a place inside Nike as his business partner and training for logistics. I was no more an intern. Finally, I was part of the Nike family.